everyone. Thank you for waiting. We're going to get started. My name is Catherine. I'm the Financial Wellness Commissioner under the Office of the President.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellie. I'm the Family UC Coordinator and the External Vice President.
My name is Victory. I am the Student Advocate General from the Office of the Student Advocate General. Thank you.
And I would like to also introduce now our speaker and special guest, Bryce. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, he's going to be our speaker for today and helping us deconstruct student fees.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I am Bryce Kikuchi. I work in student affairs. So I am by all means not the expert on fees, but I am here as part of student affairs to help you all understand what is on your student bill. I was once here as a student many years ago, and I've been on campus for a little over 30 years. So I've been here a long time. So I hope the knowledge that I've acquired in the last 30 years, I want to impart on you specifically with regards to student fees. So with that, let's get started. All right, so we're going to deconstruct your student fees and what you may see on your student bill. I want to help you try to understand like how that works and how and then some of the rationale behind why we have the different types of levels that we have here. Okay. So moving on. So we have different fee levels based on the year that you enter as an undergraduate student. So by a show of hands, how many of you started here this past fall of 2021? So I got a few of you. So you guys are first years. And how many of you started in fall of 23? So last year. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of you. And anyone here who have been here 3 years, started fall of 22? No, seeing none. Okay, and anyone who's been here started fall of 21 or before? No, okay, 1 person. Okay, great. So we have these different fee levels based on the year that you started. We put the numbers here. I'll talk a little bit more about the system-wide fee because you'll see that number changes based on the year that you entered as an undergraduate student. The campus-based fees are fees that are assessed only here at this campus at UC Irvine. So those would be fees, and the team here is going to talk more deeply into those fees, but those are things that we only have specifically here at UCI, like UCI Student Center, Campus Rec, and other fees, but they'll go over those in detail. And then, of course, you have student health insurance as a requirement to be here at UCI. You have to have health insurance. But if you already have a plan under like the family plan that's equivalent or that meets a certain criteria, you can waive out of this $2,600. And then that would be the total. So specifically talking about the system-wide fees, yes, we have what we call a UC tuition stability plan. This system-wide fee is actually set at the Regents level. So all 10 campuses, undergraduate campuses, have this fee. And so what they wanted to do was in 2021, someone had the idea of having the fee set for the whole time that you're here at a UC campus. So specifically at UCI, what we used to do was that whenever there was a fee increase, then anyone would get a fee increase. So if you came in and it was $12,000 a year, and then following year, the Regents would approve a fee increase and it could go higher. What they proposed here with this tuition stability plan is that they wanted to try to make university costs as stable as possible for the undergraduate student. So the tuition stability plan basically is something that was approved in 21 and it started in fall of 22. Again, it's intended to keep that system-wide tuition flat while you're here up to 6 years. So that's what we've indicated here. So whenever you hear about fee increases, that wouldn't affect you because you're locked into that price. All right. So what does the system-wide fee encompass? So it includes the UC tuition, which helps to fund the general operation and instruction and research of the campus. And then we have the student services fee, and that is those that are outside of the classroom. So I work in student affairs. I don't do instruction. So it helps to support like student affairs units, like the counseling center, the cross-cultural center, and other areas on campus. So I'm going to try to make this interactive for those who are in the room. I'm going to ask, so in the School of Social Sciences, the professor, what do you think that is funded from? These tuition or the student services? Tuition, perfect. How about the lecture hall to turn on the lights and to make sure that the bathrooms are running? Where do you think that's funded from? What is that? Tuition, perfect. How about the Dream Center? If those know about the Dream Center in the RISE, where do you think that's funded from? The student services fee, exactly, yes. How about like a mandated thing like the disabilities services center? Where do you think that would be funded? Is that? Actually, that's a trick question. It actually is, it's funded by both because we're mandated through the ADA, the accessibility disability law, that the university has to be accessible for students with disabilities. So there's a need for instructional assistance. So that would be funded from tuition, but it's also student service as well. So they do different outreach types of events and those different things that are not necessarily tied to instruction, and that would be funded by the student services team. So that was kind of a trick question to see if you guys are up at 10-15 now. Okay, so that is basically the system-wide fees, and I was here really to speak on those. The team here is going to talk about the campus-based fees that are specific to UCI. But before I leave the mic, I want to see if there's any questions. And it could be anything about the system-wide fees. I'll be also around to address any questions with regards to campus-based fees as well. Any questions? Pretty clear on our campus stability plan, when it started, the intent behind that, and then on what funds were. No, seeing none, hearing none, I will then turn it over back to Catherine.
Thank you so much, Vice, for giving us a breakdown of ECI's system-wide fees. And now I'll be running through ECI's campus-based fees. There's like quite a lot of them, so please sit tight as I go through them. First, is AACCI's fee. This is an AACCI event, so a lot of your tuition goes into creating events such as concerts, live markets, and social activities. And then there's also the student center fee, the place you go to like study or like have meetings with your clubs. So it's also funded by your tuition. Then there's the Friends Event Center, which is mostly used by the athletics team, that's also funded. And then the art fee, where you go to like exercise sometimes or like just to improve your physical health and wellness, is also funded by your tuition. Next, we have campus spirit fees, so it's used for things like athletics and spirit programs like sports and cheer. And then the Green Initiative Fund goes towards reducing campus waste and like improving our environmental footprint. Next, we have the Measure S fee. It's dedicated to creating or purchasing new equipment like new buses. And then right under that, we have the Anteater Express fee, which is also a bus fee. And it's used to maintain the shuttle services and probably pay the workers, the student workers who run that Anteater Express as well. Next, we have club sports fee. It's used to maintain the programming support for the club sports program, and the food pantry fee from the basic needs center is used to make sure that people are able to not purchase, but able to really take out food in the food pantry and combat food insecurity. Next, we have the source center fee. So this fee basically allows students to be able to have free printing, free green books, free scantrons, free supplies. If everybody needs free supplies for finals week or anything, make sure to go to the source center because your tuition is paying for that. And then the e-tech fee, before I didn't really know what this fee was, but it was always come up on our Zod account, but it's used to maintain the Irvine UCI Education Technology Initiative, which ensure that we have good technology services like Canvas and stuff like that. We also have the document fee, which allows you to access your official transcripts and academic validations without a fee when it's originally asking for it. And then we have UC step fee, it can be waived, and then Catherine will go more into that a little bit later on about how it's waived.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, so all of these fees all fund different things here on campus, but does anyone know like the process to which how these fees get enacted? So I want to speak briefly because yes, it seems like, oh, there's someone raising their hand. Oh, okay, go ahead. Done by what? Voting, correct, yes. Okay, so multiple questions, so let's see how we can tackle them. So real quickly, so yes, the question is how do these fees get enacted specifically for UCI? And so they're through our regular funding mechanism, we wouldn't normally have like a running event center through the system-wide fees or a student center. A lot of those things are part of instruction. And so the students at the time voted to assess themselves a fee so that they could have a student center, cross-cultural center, the store fee or the food pantry fee. And so students would then rally and would go through a process to get that initiative put onto the ballot. And in spring, which is going to come up next quarter, that's when students would then vote to decide whether or not they want to assess themselves a fee. So campus rec and the other things that were on this list were all voted upon by students. These last fees here, and it's very rare, but there are some fees that either the chancellor or the campus leadership can then assess students directly without going through a vote. So the e-tech fee, the document fee, and the student health center fee were all those that were put onto the bill that did not go through a particular vote. To answer I think I answered your question, I'll reiterate. So a lot of student services are not covered through tuition or the student services fee because the funding pool is just not enough. And so what you'll see on a lot of BC campuses is that the student center or cross-cultural center would be funded through the fee referendum. And if students are very passionate about wanting to have a particular service on campus, like the food pantry or like the source center, the students would then rally and decide to go out to vote, think if the student body wants to pay for that, and then assess the student body that. So that's how a lot of these fees were enacted. It was all student initiated and then student voted.
So like everything that is funded by the services is that like everything is
So I think yeah, so the student services fee specifically on the system-wide fees, that fee is determined by each campus. And there's a body of a committee of students and some advisors of the student fee advisory committee. Your former president last year, June
Jane.
June Jang, he is the chair for the student fee advisory committee. And they then they'll open up a call for budget from various departments and say, we have $250,000 to allocate from our student services fee. Give us your proposals, and that student fee advisory committee would then decide where those monies will fund, whether it goes to the counseling center because they need another counselor, or it goes to a particular ministry funding finance. So it can vary on campus how the student services fee gets allocated, and each campus has a student fee advisory committee that would then determine, but they get a lot of input from students. Does that help answer that question? Okay. Thank you for letting me in.
Okay, next I'll be talking about a charge that you might see on the top account. This happens often if you miss a certain deadline. First, there's a $25 fee for any returned paychecks, e-checks, or credit card chargebacks. This fee applies to any payments that are returned, whether you had insufficient funds, the bank info was incorrect, or you had a closed account, or right, for different reasons. You would get charged this fee. There are some exceptions. If it was an error on the base fee app, you can just let your bank know, and they can send a letter to you, which you would send to UCI, and that fee would get credited back to your account. So I guess just to know with this, make sure when you're submitting your payment details to double check it and make sure it's all accurate so that you don't have to pay any unnecessary charges. Next, I'll be talking about the UC student health insurance plan, raise of hands who knows what the UC student health insurance plan is. Okay, for those of you that didn't raise your hands, you might also know it as, it's called UC SHIP. UC SHIP is a UC system-wide health insurance plan that provides health insurance benefits to all UC enrolled students. I know there was a question in the chat about specifically what health insurance offers you. It offers you pretty much all the basics, right, like dental, doctor visits. There's more on the website, but it offers you all the basics. This fee is automatically assessed in your tuition and the fees you pay every quarter. What this means is that the cost of UC SHIP is included in what you owe, and you would see it on your SAL account. Even if you have a qualified insurance and you don't waive the, and opt out, do the opt-out process, you will still pay this fee even if you have insurance already. So if you do have a qualifying health insurance plan, you do have the option to opt out. And to do this, you will submit a waiver online during specific periods when it's open. For spring and summer, that deadline is March 3rd if you want to opt out. The deadline to submit this is not the deadline to get approved, it's just to submit. Some things you would have to upload is the health insurance ID card and a summary of your benefits. And then if you do get approved, you will get credited back that fee to your account in 7 to 10 business days.
Do we have to opt out quarterly or is it?
You'll have to opt out annually.
Thank you. Yeah, 7 to 10 business days, that fee will get credited back to your account. And then if for some reason you upload a waiver and it does get approved after the deadline, you will get charged with $50 late fee. An application will only get accepted 30 days after the waiver period. And then here's just like a quick demo of how to opt out of the waiver if you want to. First, you search up UC SHIP waiver, apply for waiver. Then you would go to this left tab, the drop down menu saying waiver SHIP, apply for a waiver. There's different waiver groups available. You would go to the fourth one if you're an undergraduate. And then you would pick that waiver. Some things to keep in mind when you're applying for this waiver is that Bryce mentioned this, you have to kind of meet certain criteria to be eligible for this waiver. You must provide unrestricted access. Your provider must provide unrestricted access to providers within 50 miles of campus. This just makes sure that when you're a student on campus, you have access, you know. For example, if you have like, certain travel plans or limited restrictions on your coverage, your waiver most likely will be denied. There's 3 waiver statuses that you can have, either approved, pending, or denied. If your waiver is denied, you can appeal it, but you have to submit proof that your insurance does meet the qualifications. If for some reason you need to still visit the student healthcare center, either you'll get billed to UC SHIP if you have it, and if not, you would get billed as secondary coverage under your insurance. And then I've also listed some contact information if you still have more questions, specifically the phone number, the email, and when they're open. And then each slide, which will be sending out upon request, has the source from which you got it.
So now we're going to be talking about the UC Student Association fee. So what is the UC Student Association fee? So this is a coalition of student advocates across the 9 different UC undergraduate campuses, and kind of our main mission is to focus on the past, present, and future for UC students in regards to accessibility, affordability, and quality of the UC system overall. So what has UCSA done previously? So it's done various things such as providing student advocate within the UC region space, and also stopping UC regions for wanting to implement tuition hike to increase for students, and also expanding a greater amount of Pell Grant access for students, and additionally with advocating, sponsoring, and co-sponsoring various bills such as the AU 1746 Pell Grant reform, and also the recent one that was passed this year for AU 2458 on the Gains Act for student parents, just making sure that there's research meant to be implemented to focus on what needs to be addressed for student parents and making sure that there's someone responsible for that. So where does the UC SMB go? So also goes for expanding UC student advocacy at the local, state, and federal level, and including the UC level overall. We have various conferences with the external vice president, where we have where it covers conference operating fees such as the Student Organizing Summit, and also the Students of Color Conference, and then particularly the ones that do focus on lobbying are the Student Lobbying Conference, which occurs in Sacramento in California, and also UC Hill Day, which is in Washington DC, where we advocate and lobby on federal level. And additionally, it funds a year-long advocacy for the UCSA 5 standing campaigns. We have the UC Vivo, Fund the UC, Racial Justice Now, Acquire the Basic Needs, and the Seeds campaign. So what is the UCSA fee? It's an optional $7, $7 UC-wide student fee that's split up between quarters. So overall in 1 year, we provide $7 annually, but it's broken down to $3 in fall quarter and $2 for winter and spring quarter. However, I would emphasize that it is non-mandatory, so it can be opted out. So the opt-out process is required to the visiting the applications page for the student access, and you'll have pictures they guys saw. You don't follow along. For the opt-out deadline, it is Friday of the 3rd week of each quarter, and you don't have you do have to opt out you don't have to opt out every academic year, unlike the UC share, where that one you do have to renew every year. This one, once you do opt out, you never have to renew that on that opt out feature. However, you are offered the ability to opt in at a certain time. If you don't, so what happens if you don't pay the fee or pay the fee in full amount? Not being able to pay the UCSA fee without opting out will not impact your student fee payment at all. So you don't have to worry about being like transferred from classes due to failure to pay the fee unless the student services. So these are kind of the visual aids that we provided on how to follow along with the opt-out process. And once you complete that, no further action is required. So what you typically do is you go on Google for the student access through the UCI University Registrar website. And then from there, there's an applications tab right at the bottom. You click on the left-hand side. Then right there, circled in red is the UCSA/UCGPC fee. The UCGPC is just for a graduate student, but it's basically the same like UCSA for undergraduates. And then after that, you're going to be clicking the button over here to I decline to pay the UCSA fee, and then you just submit that request. And then once that's done, you're finally done opting out. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact certain people on the UCSA fee in particular. Also, we do have an infographic that breaks down all the messages in one page rather than having to go look at our presentation. And that's it. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to come up to us.